George! How you doing, George? How's it going, buddy? Come here, buddy. Oh. Hi, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do my final review of Hot Dogs. Final film I saw was called FELIX AUSTRIA. And this was one of the strangest, weirdest, but really cool films I've seen in a long time. Okay, where do I begin? It's about this guy who changed his name to Felix oh my god, I can't remember. But anyway, this guy was obsessed with Archduke Otto von Habsburg of Austria. He had been obsessed with like the Habsburgs his whole life, and he was like a gay man. I'm telling you something, this guy's fashion sense was incredible. This guy's clothes, everything this guy wore, even when he was casual, he looked impeccable. He was amazing. He was about in his, I'd say, mid-40s or so. Very, very intellectual, very, very smart, very charismatic, very, very well-dressed. And he lived in Modesto, California. And for whatever reason, he just became obsessed with the Habsburgs. And the story was all about, well, it was kind of like all over the place, because there was all this stuff going on. First of all, okay, this is kind of hard to explain. He became obsessed with the Habsburgs, and through his obsession with them, he became acquainted with this guy named Hermann Henkel, or Hermann Henkler. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. I believe that was his name, Hermann Henkler, who was like an elderly man in, I believe it was the New York area. And this guy had been corresponding with Archduke Otto von Habsburg for like 60 years. I guess he'd written him like in the 30s, and they'd kept up this correspondence. And for whatever reason, him and this guy Felix he wrote him a letter, and they became acquainted, and then they started writing each other. By the way, the guy's real name was not Felix whatever. His real name was Brian Feifel, but he changed his name to Felix something whatever. I'm sorry, my brain is kind of fried. And so anyways, he became acquainted with this guy Hermann Henkler. So anyway, Hermann Henkler died, and when he died, he left all his letters, like his whole archive of letters to the Archduke. He willed it to this guy Brian, or Felix, and sent him this box of like all these letters. So then this guy Brian became, really fascinated with trying to track down this Hermann Henkler, because they'd never met in person. They'd only corresponded by letter. They'd never seen each other. So I guess he was really curious about him, and he went to investigate and try to find out what he could about this Hermann Henkler guy, which wasn't much, because apparently he was, quite a private man, and not too many people knew him. But eventually he did track down some family members and just kind of, talk to them about him. Hermann Henkler ended up being killed by a car outside Costco where he worked. This guy was talking about a very touching moment when his funeral, when Hermann Henkler's funeral was, 100 of the employees of the Costco, when the hearse was going by, the funeral hearse was going by the Costco, these 100 employees stood outside and kind of, I guess, saluted the hearse going by. So that was a nice story, and Brian Felix was very touched by that. Anyway, this guy Felix did end up meeting, actually in person, this Archduke Otto von Habsburg. Wow. This guy was like in his 90s. And, it showed him going to Vienna. My God, my God, my God, so beautiful, just incredible. The palaces, he was in the Kunsthistorische Museum there. Looking around at the paintings and statues and everything. And anyway, he got his dream. He got to meet the Archduke and spent, I guess, the day with him. But another kind of like layer to the story was that Felix's father, Brian's father, had Huntington's disease. And I don't know anything about Huntington's disease actually, but apparently it's genetic. And it's a very, very bad disease. It's degenerative. Your mind goes, your faculties go, your physical strength, everything. Like pretty much everything gets affected. So his father was in pretty bad shape. And he had a sister Brian had a sister, and there was a 50-50 chance that he could have inherited the Huntington's gene, and he or his sister could develop it later in life. And he was debating about whether to go through genetic testing to see if he had the gene, but I guess apparently he decided against it. I can't imagine what that must be like. I mean, I don't know if I would want to know either. But yeah, so he's facing that could be a possibility in his future. Now, the only kind of critique I have of this movie is that it ended really abruptly. Like, I mean, one minute he was like just talking, and then the next it was just over, credits rolling. So I don't know what happened there. But also another kind of weird, quirky thing about this movie was he was seeing a psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, and he was always talking to him about his dreams. And these dreams he would have about meeting the Archduke and being in the palace and all these things. And there was like these weird computer animated like sort of montages while he was talking about his dreams, and then he would be in character in these dreams. Like he would just, I guess he agreed to act or whatever, act out his dreams for this film, and he would be dressing up in all these weird costumes and stuff. So it was really just really quirky, eccentric, bizarre, but in a really good way, like in a really fascinating way. This guy was a really interesting character, really interesting guy. I really, really enjoyed it. It was great. I enjoyed it a lot. But by far, I would have to say my favorite movie of the festival was Rent a Family, which I talked about before. It just really, really touched me. I thought that was so, so good. I hope you guys get to see it. So anyway, that's it for Hot Docs for another year. I'm going to be back with another round of movie reviews for TIFF 2013, because me and my husband go every year. It starts in September, usually the first or second week of September, and I usually go to see at least 10 and sometimes 15. So I'll be back with a lot more reviews coming up in September for TIFF 2013. I hope you guys enjoyed these, and hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you had a great day, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your comments, your feedback, and everything. I really enjoy you guys watching. I hope you enjoy my reviews. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.